Does anyone remember how I specifically requested from the universe that the end of 2024 also brings the end of my mealybug infestation? Well, apparently the two of us have some beef going on, because not only is it not the end of my mealybug infestation, it's actually bigger than it was, and also we have root mealybugs on some of my begonias, which I'm pretty sure have croaked after the treatment, and we also have thrips on my Anthurium. So do you want to take this out of the stratosphere? Cause I'll do it. Let's take this out of the stratosphere. Anyway, as you can see from the title, the May came with some challenges. I definitely had some other more chill plans for May and for the end of spring in general, but things be changing, It's all good. It's all good. I'm not offended. I'm not upset here. No, not at all. It's important to adapt and not to panic. But now it is becoming clear to me that the strategy for the rest of the spring slash summer slash year is to get a handle of things in terms of pests, in terms of treating my plants, and not to acquire more Hoya and just more plants in general, especially because one recent Hoya that I got tanked and I am very angry. But we'll talk about that later in the video. Plants aside, I have had some other plants for, well, this current and the previous period that I have been actively and effectively postponing, and coming to a realization that it's been about a year of postponing things. It's a bit scary. As some of you who follow the channel regularly, and most definitely my patrons know this, I have been applying for a Hungarian citizenship, and I have to reapply for that because last time, even though I came very close, I was in fact denied eventually, and I have been planning to reapply ever since. So it's been like over 6 months since this information came and since I knew I had to reapply, and it's like every single month I'm like, this is gonna be the month. And that started in July last year, and now we are in May, and I was like, oh, this is the month when I'm actually gonna do it. But it's not. It turns out it's not. And it's not gonna be June either. But I will just keep postponing this. It's been a year and a half from the last interview, and actually, I was wrong, not 6 months. It's been a year from that denial letter, right? That I've been postponing this, and my language skills have definitely improved over this time, so I don't actually know why I'm postponing this all the time. And my language skills were actually quite good to begin with, maybe just not good enough, even though we did get like follow-up interview, but it was just not up to the perhaps standard, which we actually don't really know what the standard is because they're not very clear about that either. Anyway, to make this very short story extremely long, because we gotta stay true to ourselves, right? I thought I was gonna be done with the whole thing by now. Well, I thought I was gonna be done with many things by now. I also didn't think that my driving lessons are gonna take 7 months, because that's supposed to be done within 2 or 3, but it took 7 because of a lot of postponing from the school mainly, but I also had to go to Sweden, so I obviously couldn't take the driving lessons then. But yeah, I just expected to be in a very different place in May than where I am now. And there are some aspects of my life, like getting the second job, which I did not expect. So that's a plus. We did not expect to be in that place, but as when it comes to some other things and some other plans, I just really expected to be further along. Many things have been happening. There are some things that have been happening in my country as well, which required my attention, whether you heard it on the news or not, about the protests and all of that. And, it turns out when you take all of these things together, you're just drained at the end of the day, and you don't have as much energy to study one of the most difficult languages in an intense way. But as I said, we adapt. This is why today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, and until the end of May, and probably even later, we are going to take care of the plants in my collection, so at least this one part can be done and over with, and it's all taken care of. But I think that in general, I need to find a way to spend less time on my plants, because definitely I've been spending over 50% of my time just like taking care of the plants and mealybugs and all of that. And that needs to be far, far, far less than that. And I'm sure that most of you had to go through this process of realigning your goals and facing the reality that you are not exactly where you wanted to be at a certain point in your life. Unless you are my kindergarten slash elementary school slash high school familiar. Let's not say French. Familiar. She's a familiar. We're never really great friends, but I swear she had her whole life planned out when she was 7. There were no surprises in the steps that she took. Literally 0 surprises. And she is exactly not right now where you just expected her to be. That's some dedication. That's some really good planning. Good for her. But for the rest of us, things may not go that way. And if you feel that you are maybe struggling with this immense sinking feeling that comes with this realization that you are not in the spot, in the place where you expect it to be by now, maybe it will be useful for you to hear about the paid partner of this video, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is an online therapy platform that connects you with a credentialed therapist that helps you with whatever issue you may have. Their mission is to make starting therapy easier, because for a lot of people, taking that first step and actually starting therapy can be a little bit difficult, especially because for whatever reason in 2025 there is still stigma around therapy. Fill out a quick questionnaire to get matched with a credentialed therapist. You can also easily switch to a different therapist at no extra cost if the therapist you have been matched with is not the right fit for you. The right therapist will listen, ask questions, and help you see things from a new perspective. You can get 10% off of your first month of therapy by clicking the link in the description or visiting betterhelp.com/basieplans. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/basieplans. Thank you, BetterHelp, for being the paid partner of this video. Thank you all for listening. And now we can start with the end of May. Something about that sounds a little bit ominous. Start with the end. Let's not focus on that, but let's get to work. Chop chop! It is the first day of me getting everything in order in my plant room and with my plants for the month of May. And we are going to start with the most problematic section of my plant collection, which is this section right here. I am absolutely disgusted by the state of things here. These Anthuriums don't look terrible. They don't look terrible. However, they have the most disgusting thing that you can have on a plant, which is thrips. They poop on your leaves, they eat your leaves, they're just nasty all around. I mean, mealybugs are also nasty because like sticky and highly erotic, right? White, sticky. Thrips are worse. Thrips are worse because they are just really disgusting. And I intend to treat these plants today. I haven't been postponing this, I just did not have the time. I noticed this about a week ago that we have thrips, and it is bad. It is really bad. One of the most evident issues is on this beautiful Anthurium affinity or Basie infinity, and you can just see, maybe you can't, but we do have thrips on that leaf. Thankfully, Anthurium leaves seem to take better the thrip infestation, and it's not completely disgusting, like it can get uber disgusting on Monstera, but we do see that this leaf very exhausted at this point, which could be due to lack of sufficient watering, but we do need to solve this today. So I will water them and shower them and then bring them out, and hopefully, it does look like it's gonna rain immediately. It does look like it's gonna rain immediately, but I'm gonna try to get them dry. Good thing about Anthuriums, once you shower them, they dry pretty quickly, because I would like to spray on the dry leaves. I don't know, somehow I think that having leaves wet is gonna dilute the spraying solution, which let me get. What I'm going to use is Nimbecidin. This is essentially what we have here that is somewhat equivalent to Azamax. It's azadirachtin A and B, but it is weaker, 4 times weaker than Azamax. So, but I will still use the appropriate amount. And it's safe to predators, they say. And yeah, it should essentially prevent the feeding of the pests, and it makes them sterile so they don't reproduce. It's been somewhat effective against mealybugs in my grow tent, but I do need to keep spraying those as well. So, you know, it's the best that we can do because we don't use systemics. Well, not anymore. The issue with Serbia is we did not have access to this type of thing for the longest time. Instead, we had systemics, and we don't have predators. Not for things like this. I did find some for aphids, but these are obviously not aphids. Obviously not aphids. So the lack of predators is problematic, but I'm glad to see that at least some improvements have been made. So this is one product that is somewhat, it's safe to predators. I did stock myself up. We also have this pyrethrin, which is essentially, if you go to any regular garden center in Europe, you can get pyrethrin in those spray bottles, but that's just gonna cost you a lot. So I found undiluted. I mean, this was also a lot. It was about 100 euros for this. Do you know how much food that is for me? I mean, not this. Shouldn't drink poison. Though. Anyway, so that, and then we have Flipper, and I think this is essentially from UK. Bayer has this in UK. This is essentially, I think, it says potassium salt, so this might be exactly the same like Castile soap, which I also got. So I have been ready, and yeah, we're gonna shower them and clean everything around. Thrips are not easy to get rid of typically, but with repeated spraying, I do find success. There is also something that you have in the US, because a lot of my audience is from the US, but this is also available in Europe. It's spinosad, and I think that's derived from some type of bacterium. It has been approved in organic agriculture, and in US that's bonide, right? That's the pronunciation. Bonide. That's not the American accent. So yeah, those are, I think, spinosad. So that should be very effective against thrips. I used it before in the past, and I used it up all because I had a lot more aeroids. So when I sprayed them, I essentially used it up. So, but it was effective even after one treatment. But I'm gonna try these things today, and we're gonna go in with Nimbecidin for 2 to 3 weeks, and then I might switch it up to either some of the soaps or pyrethrum. I'm not really sure. I do need to treat my Hoyas, but we don't have infinite amount of time in the day, so let's just focus on this section to get everything showered and watered, get them out to dry. It's about 15 degrees Celsius, 16. You have to take care of the temperatures when you spray the plants, and I may have mentioned this in the past, but you do need to pay attention to what type of water you are using. Not all the time will you see on the label of the product, but a quick Google search will see that they do recommend for Azamax to use distilled or RO water and to use around 6 pH. Now, I haven't pH'd down my water yet. I did use distilled water, that's around 8. Apparently, this can all affect how effective the product is. So there are a lot of components in why a treatment may not work, clearly, and you gotta take care of the temperatures. So 16 might be a bit too low. I don't know if my product says. Let me just check if they say something. This bottle doesn't say anything. One thing that they also say is maximum 2 treatments within 10 to 14 day interval on the same surface on the same plant. So you shouldn't really exceed that. Now, I don't know if that's because they can develop resistancy. I don't think so. Maybe it can cause phytotoxicity. I have used in my tent 3 times in some of the Hoyas and in some twice. It's interesting because on a smaller bottle of this, they do say up to 5 times. I'm pretty sure. I will find that small bottle and confirm. It doesn't say anything about the temperature. Unfortunately, this one is in German, which I do not read, but I do also think pyrethroids are about 5 times. And even on this soap, they say 5 times, or maybe even 7. So apparently everything is limited. Limit, after all, does seem to exist, Katie. So, but that would lead me to think that even if you use Castile soap, there could be some limitations. I think the limitations are mostly that you can, you know, burn the leaves of the plants. So we're just gonna start with this. Before we do, I do have to show you an orchid in bloom. Don't know why I'm doing the dance, but I'm gonna show you a Philodendron they have in bloom. But just quickly to go back to thrips, I don't know how they came in here. Nothing new was introduced here aside from these orchids, but they're clean. So I don't know what the heck is their problem and where thrips came from. But they are here and we gotta deal with it. But actually, another thing, another update. My Anthurium Michelle, I don't know why she hasn't been growing any leaves for such a long time. This was the last leaf she made. And obviously we should start to kind of stake her because she's, you know, whatever. But she made this new leaf. Yes, it does have a hole. No one is perfect. Everyone is damaged these days. So, you know, so is she. We all come with a baggage, okay? Okay? So, holy leaf. Oh, it's so big. Just compare it to the previous one. It's much smaller. This one is bigger. And then it's actually pushing out another new leaf, which is absolutely confusing to me. I think maybe the temperature is making her grow better because it's rising. You did see this Phalaenopsis in bloom, and it does need water. It's gonna drip a little bit because it's been soaking, but I do have an update. We have more flowers open. Can we stop being dramatic with the dripping? It is floppy. Look at that. What the heck? They're so beautiful. This is a very, I think this is Phalaenopsis anastasia or something like that. It's pretty easy to find. This is the reason why I don't like to stake my Phalaenopsis, is I think they just look so beautiful when they cascade and when you put them on a shelf. And it just like does this. It's beautiful. So that's very, very nice. A very beautiful color there. Very easy to bloom. Phalaenopsises are just the easiest orchids you can have. So, well, maybe I'm wrong. So I have water all over the floor. Thank you very much. I have water all over myself. So it's time to take everything away from here, water it thoroughly. Unfortunately, yes, this one too has thrips. We have established the big one has. I know this Forgetti too has thrips. So I think they're pretty much all infected. Someone asked in my previous video when I was dealing with Hoyas from the cabinet, because I was touching one and then another, and I said this one 100% has mites, and then I was touching a different one, and someone said, aren't they going to transfer? My assumption is in all of these spaces, whether it be a cabinet, a tent, or a shelf level, is that they have already spread by the time we've noticed. They have probably jumped to another plant, especially when you have your plants close. If we were talking me touching a Hoya from the cabinet and then going into the tent, and there was nothing in the tent in terms of pests, then that would be a concern. But because they're all from the cabinet, I just assume they all have mites and they got treated. Actually, I'm supposed to probably retreat these in the cabinet and just check them up. I think it's been a week. Yeah, it's been a week. But we can't do that today. Yeah, so we're just gonna deal with this section here. It would be lovely if we found someone without a thrip, maybe this crystallinum doesn't have thrips. Though I'm pretty sure if I looked very hard, I would find at least, well, there it is, at least one. That's the thing in life. If you search for something long enough, you will find it. Some people would apply this to love, but I'm gonna apply it to thrips, or mealybugs, or spider mites. If you search hard enough, you're gonna find them. So, don't despair, don't despair. It's been pretty hot in this room lately, so let's just pull my hair up. And yeah, I really hope I haven't had any issue with thrips and Hoya in the past. They have never really jumped to my Hoya. Oh my gosh, I tightened that bun so much. I think my skin is gonna peel off from my forehead. I haven't had any issue with thrips on my Hoya. I do assume that they do jump to Hoya and in search of, something to munch on, and maybe they can find something so they jump back. I don't know. I have never really had a big issue. The biggest issue always for me with Hoyas is either the mites or the mealybugs. I can't really tell you which one is worse. I think mites because they really mess you up. Mealybugs are annoying and disgusting and sticky and they will make your leaves deformed, but mites are just absolutely gonna not ask for permission. Thrips are also bad because they will also give you deformed leaves, as we can see in some of these Anthuriums. I can see in another crystallinum here, we're getting deformed leaves. So hopefully 3-4 weeks of treatment are gonna solve that. This one's gonna bloom again. Again, I don't really see thrips on this one, but as I told you before, look hard enough and you're gonna find what you're looking for. So I'm not gonna look hard enough because they're probably there. Can you believe it? I grew this from a small plug. Can you also believe that this is a self-watering pot and this plant is absolutely dry? I can believe that. Doesn't even look that bad. Not even due for a repot. So, you can imagine how light this pot is because I'm doing this. Very light. Needs to water. Needs to water? English no come today? What the heck? By the way, the orchid wall, you can see it. It's looking so great. These Vandas, we will basket those as well in the video. The remaining ones, I am getting close to the flowers. Oh, blinded by the light. Oh my gosh, this is such a bad idea. She's gonna rebloom. It wouldn't be a bad idea to spray the Vandas with pyrethrin because I saw from some orchid growers, as soon as the buds appear on the Vanda, you should spray them because of thrips, because thrips do love flowers. The other one is much further along in terms of the spike, but this is my first rebloom on the Vanda and it's been very quick, about 3 months, I would say, from the first flowering. So I am extremely proud of myself. And yes, I will take the badge of a amazing orchid grower. I also need to check my big Philodendrons for thrips, water them. Everything needs to be watered at this point. We're getting to that period, the season, where things just want water all the time. So yeah, let's just move to the bathroom. I am still blinded by the light. Before we continue with the treatment, I gotta remove this what's the name of the plant? Josebuono. From the bathtub. This is probably the most abused philodendron in my collection. It spent a winter in absolute dark, in unheated summer kitchen. I'm an awful human being. That was the winter before this one. And then last winter it spent in a pretty dark hallway. I was intending to size it up and put it in my room, and we still haven't gotten to the part where I actually size it up. But it's still miraculously growing. The bottom portion looks absolutely awful. I was thinking about cutting it and propagating it, but I think I'm just gonna leave it and just work towards sizing it up, right? But it looks, it's a 7. It's a 7. But considering the amount of abuse, I would say it's a 20. Because you can see the leaves on the bottom are missing, and then we had this winter growth, and then this is the newer growth. So I would say it's not even that bad. I mean, considering the abuse, right? Considering the players, which is me, I would say that the outcome is pretty decent. Pretty nice variegation. It's probably one of my favorite variegated philodendrons because it's very stable with the variegation in it. My first experience with Josebona was terrible. I paid with my friend in 2020 when we were sort of sharing this plant business because we were the only ones importing into Serbia, and I was propagating these plants for other people. We paid, I think, 200 euros for a plant about this size, which is a terrible thing, right? But well, actually, I wasn't even paying. I was mostly employed by my friend as the expert, and it arrived completely rotten and fell apart. I actually told this story on the channel. It fell apart immediately. When I say immediately, I mean like 10 minutes after unboxing. It was completely rotten. Every petiole, everything was rotten. And that was the worst order experience ever that I had, probably. This is from a different place. I can't remember where this is originally from. This was much bigger. I propagated these a million times because, again, this was 2020 to 2022 when no one was importing these plants and they were not mass produced. We were doing that, and we actually left that game pretty early. Not because of the lowering prices, but my friend got a kid. That sounds like she found a kid on the street. She, had a child. And I was just not really interested in selling plants. And even this year it's the worst because people are reaching out to buy Hoyas, and I'm just like, oh, I don't have the energy. But anyway, about these plants, I still have from that order my Florida Beauty. I can't remember. I think there were 5 plants in there. I'm not gonna be able to remember what they were. I probably, if I looked hard, I would probably find what they were, but there is a video also on this channel so you can find it. I never wanted to name that seller, but I actually don't even remember their name anymore, but they are a seller from Germany. And later I found out they are relatively notorious because they were, I have no fear anymore. They were somehow related to the European Aeroid Society, and there was some shady stuff going on there. So yeah, I am really, because of that experience, wary of all societies and all those very tightly knit communities that don't really allow plant outsiders to easily come in. And they protect one another even in situations where it's not morally right to do so. So that was my really bad experience. And I think it still goes on. These things still go on. I haven't had that experience with the Hoya Society, but there are definitely Hoya clusters, and there are definitely Hoya sellers that are protected by other customers, by other known collectors, even though their product is absolutely not up to the standard. It's not like what you should be getting. You definitely deserve more for your money. So so many times I wanted to do a video and to rant about all these things in the plant community, which I think make it really, really bad. And I think it happens in all of the communities, but I just really, really dislike this. I have nothing against, making friends and whatnot, but when you protect someone who is essentially wrong, it's morally wrong to do so, right? I really dislike that because I dislike lying. I dislike dishonesty. I'm so basic. Dislike this. What is else? World peace. Yeah, want that too. But I really am not one of those people that can get over things like that. I find it so hard to stomach. It's a Taurus quality. I'm telling you, it's 100% Taurus thing. I don't believe in astrology, but sometimes I'm like, how can it be so right? It's a very Taurus thing. The lies, dishonesty, something that's not gonna fly by. It's not gonna fly by. Anyway, we need to repot him. Give him better mix. I'm gonna fall into the bathtub and break my neck. This is a smaller Nimbicidin that I have. I have to use this up before I start the other one. No, this one also says 2 times, but I swear I read someplace that there is more than 2 times. Also, this is expired. 2 years of use, and it was produced in April of 2022. Love it. probably not as effective as it could be. Is it poisonous if it expires? Joking. But I swear, if you Google this, you will find every product has online uploaded license, and you can read stuff there. And sometimes you can find different variations of the license, so make sure to really Google it. And yeah, and sometimes you can find stuff in forums because people reached out to companies. I don't remember who makes Azamax, something hydroponics, but I don't think they say anywhere on the label that you're supposed to use a low ppm water like RO or distilled, and they don't mention pH, but I think if you reach out to them, they will tell you. So anyway, are we ever gonna start? Are we ever gonna start? Just like to talk forever.
Call me back again tomorrow when you're sober. Signals fading, I got somewhere else to be. I'm an angel cause I love you when you're broken. You're the devil, you don't care how I feel. Yeah, I could get used to the magic of your love, but I know it's too good to be true. Yeah, I could get used to the magic of your touch. Yeah, I keep coming back to you. Ah, beep, 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 beep. Ah, beep, 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 beep. If you'd only open up your eyes, see me. I've been waiting there forever, can't you tell? Even love your darkest eyes, but you don't need me. You don't need me, only see me as a friend. I could get used to the magic of your love, but I know it's too good to be true. I could get used to the magic of your touch, yeah, I keep coming back to you. Ah, beep, 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 beep. I'll be for you. Ah, beep, 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 beep. I'll be for you. Ah, beep, 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 beep. I'll be for you. Ah, beep, 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 beep,
Ow! Shh, stop it. It is day 2 of the plant chores here. We did some lighter work yesterday, and that's all fine. Today we have a new plan that just abandons all reality in terms of how much work I would like to do. It just takes that reality, puts it into the trash. What is even time? You know, what are time restraints, spatial restraints, energy restraints? Doesn't mean anything, right? Larger than universe plan here. So I would like to sort all of my prop boxes, which are there's so many of them. I think that thing alone is just probably like a 2-day chore, but we're gonna try to do it today, at least some of it. A lot of those plants are actually not even prop box material, they are separation material in terms of, like, some have mealybugs and they need to be isolated, and they have been in prop boxes without the lid, just sort of separated from my collection in the kitchen, in the hallway for weeks now, and that needs to get taken care of. We do have a very big shelf here, which I will talk about later. This is the improved shelf. There's a lot of changes I would like to do here by the end of summer. Number one, go through these gesneriads here, see what I want to keep, what I don't, restart potentially some of them. They are getting dry really fast. I do water them once a week, but it's not enough. I think I've put way too much perlite in the potting mix. I'm always afraid that I'm gonna rot something, which doesn't really track with my watering habits. So we are always perlite enthusiasts, you know? So we need to fix that. I definitely know that some of these I want to keep. Some of them are really way too similar in terms of the flowers, some of these calumnias, but I would like to go through them, probably cut some of them back, maybe even restart some of them so they look better. I do suspect root mealybugs, just because the lady that I get these from has a root mealybug issue. They also really go for begonias, gesneriads, and it's a problem. So I think I need to actually just restart these. I haven't really propagated these types of plants, calumnias, but I assume it's just the same, you know, put it in a potting mix in a prop box and call it a day. So we will definitely change this. This wall doesn't really work for me because the light is here. The other terrarium is down below. There is only a singular begonia there because we did have root mealybug thing, so we gotta clean that terrarium, and it doesn't work. The light is over here, it doesn't really reach the begonias, so I introduced a different light on the side here, which is a Sansi light in IKEA lamp holder. It's way too strong, and they just don't look all that great when they're grown under such strong light. And I can't put another weak LED bar here, it just doesn't really make sense. It's gonna be ugly as heck. So instead, I think I'm gonna take down the gesneriad wall and potentially put another terrarium here. So it's gonna be like 2 terrariums, which I think is gonna look nice-ish. I would prefer a very large terrarium, but my experience so far with all of these cabinets and terrariums is that I see other people do it, I don't understand how. I personally find it very difficult to organize the plants because some on the top are getting way too much light, some on the bottom not enough, and if I want to make just like a purely begonia one, like it's always hard for me to put something that wants too much light because most of them are not that highlight. And then the light also needs to be strong to reach the bottom, so it's decent at the bottom too. So you really need highlight plants. I think a mixed terrarium with some highlight, maybe tillandsias or orchids and stuff, and then a lower level begonia, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. So instead what we are gonna do is, I think we're just gonna put another terrarium here. They run me about 35 euros each, these terrariums, and they're pretty big. And I think it's going to look nice. I think I have an additional level of this shelf, so I won't even need to buy that, but I will need to buy a terrarium. And another pro, I do actually need another terrarium. I actually do need one. So yeah, we're going to do that. There are more stuff here that needs to be done, but I think we just have to say goodbye. I also want to figure out where do I grow these calumnias, these gesneriads, because they are just a magnet for thrips. I might consider putting some of the calumnias, because calumnias do like to be in a terrarium, so maybe they get like a small separate one for them. This Aschenanthus dye pink, which bloomed, very dry now, that I think I can handle having somewhere hanging, but I think the rest of them, it's just way too many. I won't find enough space to hang them in my room in isolated enough capacity, so I'm not worried about thrips jumping to other plants. But we'll see. They need first watering, then we need to go through them, see what we need to cut back. We're not going to do any of that today. We will water them, but that's the extent of that. But that's sort of the change here. The bottom levels here of this shelf, which are absolutely nasty, so I'm not gonna show you for too long. I put 2 terrariums there, and then on the top levels, I will either put Hoyas or orchids. So we will see what we will do with the top levels. We are still kind of envisioning, I think some Hoyas I can move from the tent here. The only issue is I knock them over because I have to lean over to open my window, which I do. Well, I close it when I'm recording the video because the traffic is too loud, but other than that, all summer it's open. And as I lean, and it's inevitable, I knock over the plants. So we either need to secure them by putting like some fence / string on the other side that's just gonna keep them here so that they don't tip over, or something needs to happen because I can't have a bunch of plants tipping over on me every single day. I would absolutely go crazy in a half a day of doing that. Now, as I kind of go through my plants, cleaning and spraying and stuff, I will make a mental note of what I don't really want anymore. I want to definitely get rid of minimum 30 plants, so maybe not just Hoya. I have some thoughts about aeroids that I have here, so some of them need to go. Need to water my Vandas too as well. They are looking very dry, kind of problematic. I haven't watered them in a week, but they're okay. They're okay. They're just dry. They need to hydrate. Let's imagine we took a vacation. We didn't, but let's imagine this is how they will look after I come back from a vacation to which I rarely, if ever, go to. So anyway, my hair keeps getting stuck in these roots. So that's why we need to basket that, which I'm also going to attempt to do in this video, basket these newer Vandas. And next month when I get some money, we can basket the big ones because I need more wood for that. But what I want to do now is I want to move this Philodendron billeti. I want to see if he has thrips. Does he need to be sprayed? He needs to be watered for sure. He's very dry. He's been watered 2 weeks ago or so, and he just is drinking so much water now that I don't really know what to do. I don't think he has thrips. I could be wrong, because some of the aeroids did have thrips, and I see a lot of them. They need to be watered. I need to repot most of my aeroids that are hanging there because it's just not working out. I made a very, very light mix. As I said, we were very enthusiastic and we cannot handle that. Stuff like this Ring of Fire, which also had thrips, are probably gonna go out. It might be one of the plants that I get rid of because I just don't love what it's doing, but it's bone dry and it's been watered last week. So it's getting way, way, way too dry. We can't handle it. Is this a thrip or a... It is definitely a thrip. I'm gonna take this one down and attempt not to take anything else with him, which is hard. I'm going to take him outside and shower them there, which probably will not show you. This is the newest leaf. He had a big fall. He was getting heavy and didn't have a cover pot, so he had a big fall, unfortunately, which led to several leaves breaking, especially towards the bottom. The leaves on the bottom are going anyway because of me not watering it enough, but also as it grows big, I guess there's less light down there, but he's humongous. This one I will keep forever for sure. Let me just inspect that. Seems okay. So thrips haven't gotten to him yet, it seems, or actually no, this is the newer leaf. Yeah, the newer leaf is actually smaller than the previous one, which is either because it's getting closer to the light or I'm not feeding it enough, or both. I would like to repot this, and I'm not really sure to what. That's an issue because I like the idea of this being in a clear pot, but we don't have such big clear pots. This is actually ordered from Aquagenera because we don't have it here. As you have seen, I have some of these aeroids in pretty big pots, which would work, except I don't know where I would put it, in one of those floor pots that are tall, because he's very wide. So I don't really know. He would have to be in a corner, but all of my corners are filled with plants, so I'm not quite sure. This is why he is where he is, but it's getting to a point where we are getting way too close to that light. So we definitely need to either lower him. What do we think? Maybe here. Can we? We just put him here on the terrarium. We will figure that out. I definitely am not getting rid of this one for sure. So I just need to find a different space in the room. Potentially if I find a huge wall pot, but it would have to be really big because this is huge. That's something we could entertain, but also something that I definitely see turning into a problem. Anyway, less talking, more working, as always. As always. I decided that I should also treat my aeroids, so they got a good watering and a shower outside, and then I also sprayed them with the same thing, with Nimbacidin / Azamax. It's not really Azamax, but very similar. And I also decided to just leave them outside for now. They did spend the last summer outside and they were fine, so I just decided that it's time to just take them out. It's warm enough, and it will also help me with not having as many plants in my room. They will need a repot because I think the mix is not the best. I think it's way too porous for me and for my watering routine, so we will fix that throughout the summer. I only brought one of them back inside, and it is the polypoidoides, or however you pronounce that. We know that I cannot pronounce the name of this one. And that one also needs a repot. We need to stake him because I don't think it is working the best as a hanging plant. But then we also have to figure out where we will put them. And that is just an issue, a problem for future Miro, not for me today. Listen, I absolutely see nothing on my camera. I don't even know. The sun is shining, so I can't see anything. Am I in the frame? Hello? Hopefully. So as we can see, there's a bunch of Hoya around me in the prop boxes. Some have been separated that need to be repotted. Some of these are in pawn, so I want to get rid of that. I have some that need to be treated, some that I don't even know what's happening. I honestly have no idea what's happening here. These here have had mealybugs. They need to be repotted as well from the cocoa husk because they have been in the ambient setting and they haven't adored cocoa husk. Cocoa husk works great for me in the cabinets, in the tent, but not really when I neglect them in the ambient. So I'm just gonna put them in a different mix. Also, there are like some carnosa here that absolutely do not need to be in any light mix. So we're gonna go through as many of them as I can in the next hour and a half because I have my Hungarian class. This is gonna be a voiceover mostly because the cars are passing by, etc. I am outside because it's gonna be much easier to clean up. I don't have my regular Hoya mix. This is perlite with some cocoa peat, and I'm gonna use that temporarily. I will also use these cups that I will drill with a soldering iron to make drainage for them, and they're gonna get lightly watered, repotted, well, in the order. First, I'm gonna remove mealybugs, if I find any, repot them, lightly water, treat them, and put them in prop boxes and on the shelf that I have dedicated to this. And they're gonna stay in there until I see no sign of mealybugs anymore and until they have recovered. Is it gonna rain? It's so sunny though. Guys, I think it's gonna rain. I think it's like a couple of drops. Anyway, let's just do this. So it was time to put on some gloves and pour some alcohol so we can get rid of the mealybugs. I was pleasantly surprised by the number of mealybugs. I knew there were some, there had to be some, but I honestly expected the whole situation to be far more catastrophic. So while we are not happy to see them, it is at least good. It's not too many. So I removed the mealybugs just with alcohol first. From the Hoyas where I found them, they all got inspected. And the only one that was really, really bad is Hoya. And Hoya, for whatever reason, they just migrated down towards the base of the stem. I for a moment thought it was root mealybugs, but when I took her out, I just saw there's just plenty of mealybugs there. So I just chopped off the root ball. I think because this is a very porous mix, it's just bark, moss, and pumice. There's just enough space, enough air, I don't know, so they lived there. They for a moment probably got confused, thought there should be root mealybugs, but yeah, it was just not worth it to treat this root ball. I just chopped it off and I will reroot the plant again. But I think if the mix was more dense, which she would not have liked, I think that they would not really go down there, but there were a lot of air gaps, so you know, they could set up a home, they could set up a station from which they attack and multiply. And I also repotted them. This is not a forever mix, it's just a temporary situation until I order more mix to sort of recover the roots a bit because they were underwatered multiple times. So I just want to grow some new roots. That's why I'm also putting them in the prop box. They also did get treated, so we are putting them in the propbox, number one, to keep isolating them until we see no more mealybugs, and number two, to just get them rerouted a little bit. They also had, some of these have mites, and they've had mites for a long while, so they haven't been growing. But I hope that now we're finally going to take care of it. Unfortunately, I did not record everything. I got through 4.5 prop boxes, but it started to rain because, I told you it was going to rain. And unfortunately, while my camera is to some extent splash proof, I don't think that you should be recording in rain. Hello, hello, hello. We are outside once again. It is windy once again. It is me once again. I have the 3 Vanda orchids that you have seen in one of the previous videos that I got in my obsessive search for a red Vanda orchid. None of these are red, but I am happy with what they look like. They are a little bit dry. They arrived dry, and I haven't really done the best job of rehydrating them. It's quite tricky to keep soaking them when they're in this state. It's much easier in the baskets. I was right. Basketing my Vandas was a great choice, and those are doing fantastically. They have all hydrated. 2, potentially 3 are in spike. 2 are well off. They're going to bloom soon. And I think 1 more is spiking. So we want to basket these 3. I'm going to water them. I'm going to soak them outside because we're going to do everything today outside. So that's why I brought them out. It's about 20 degrees, so it's not too cold. I'm not entirely sure how to show them to you. This one is very similar to the one that I already have, but it is not the same. So it is still different. I would say this one is in the worst shape currently because she is maybe the most, well, maybe she's not the most dehydrated. Maybe she's not. But this is kind of white two-tone. It's not the seashell. It's citrus something, the name. And you can see the flowers are on their way out. So I'm just gonna put it on the floor. The next one has some strange name, plum something. I don't remember. This one is actually my favorite from this batch. It has a very nice purple flower, but you can see that they have been dehydrated. They're on their way out, the flowers. So next blooming, we're waiting for that. And then the third one, this one already lost the flower spike, but this is very similar to the one that died. It's very, very dark. I think it's still a bit different. But so far, this one is doing well. She did, I think, maybe not all of them, but this one definitely lost a leaf, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like the same situation again, but it's not. However, this second spike never developed. The tip just died back. So I'm gonna soak them. And this is a pretty big pot in which I have to soak these unpotted Vandas. All right, so I'm gonna soak them here. The water is a bit nasty, but this is the same water that I water my Hoyas with, and I have it designated for orchids, but it's the same mix. It has in it orchid fertilizer, that gives it this lovely you washed poop in it color. Very nice. So the fertilizer that I use is Orchid Focus. There is Grow and there is Bloom, and I kind of use them interchangeably. I think today we have Grow here. I have Algamic, which is supposed to help with the root production. I also have a product that's called Pure Zin by Plagronic, not sponsored, which is supposed to help with like aeration of the roots. To my understanding, it's some type of enzyme. It's supposed to help with the degradation of already degraded matter. Not so useful for Vandas, but I think in the pots, if you have like a bit of root rot, it's supposed to help with that, bring more air to the roots, and to help that break down quicker. And then what we also have is, I forgot the name of it, but Rhizo something by Kana, and that one is supposed to help with root production. That's actually specifically for the roots. Algamic, that's just what I read, that it kind of helps with the root production, but I just found to use Algamic every now and then pretty useful with Hoyas. When I was rooting Hoyas before, it kind of speeds up that process, but I view Algamic more as like vitamin of sorts, and plants do love it. So that's what we have here. It's pH down, RO water. I need about 25 liters. We have about 20, which is fine. We're just gonna use less water to soak these. And yeah, they will be soaking for about an hour at least, so we can remove the basket and basket them. I don't think I can fit all three, but I may try. So let's just, and you know, the reason why I'm basketing them is because, you know, if I were to do this every other day, that'd be crazy. And for watering my basketed Vandas, I sort of use like a propbox filled with 10 liters of water, which I found it to be just enough. And I just soak them 1 by 1 or 2 by 2 depending, and that works pretty well for those. It's the same mix, and then I just close the propbox when I'm done, and the water stays in my room. This I have to put back in the bottle, so that's why I'm doing this, so I don't have to do that all the time. All right, so let's see if we can soak all three. Let's be courageous here. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work with all three, but I wouldn't be Miro if I didn't try. So it's kind of working. So yeah, this is, as you can see, it's not the easiest process. I definitely recommend basketing Vandas unless you live in Florida and they can live outside. For us, it's kind of like a necessity. They haven't started to actively grow new roots, and that's because they are in bloom. Vandas do not make new roots from my experience and from everything that I read as they bloom, but as soon as they're done flowering, or if I just were to cut off these flower spikes, I think in about a week or so they would start the root production. Okay, we kind of got them in. I do have to monitor them so they don't go all the way in, just the level of the basket. We do not want to soak the entire crown because then we will rot it, essentially. But yeah, these are dehydrated. I can't wait to get them into baskets, and then I'm gonna start soaking them daily. Hopefully they will rehydrate in about a couple of weeks. As for the baskets, you have seen me make these, so I'm just gonna probably speed through this. I have my wood here that I already marked for drilling. I will still show you the process, but there is a video where I do a much better job explaining it. I will link it in the description so you can go watch that. And yeah, that's what's the wind is really annoying. Like, I do have a complaint. The weather is not cooperating with me. Every day it's like, is it sunny? Is it gonna rain? Is it windy? Is there gonna be a storm? No one knows. Hopefully this doesn't take longer than an hour, but it probably will take 10 hours to finish because I planned other things to do today. Does anyone else struggle with the child protection on these? Why is it so hard to use an extension cord all of a sudden? We did not grow up with this. It works.
I cannot ignore this. I've grabbed my blind.
Okie dokie, it is still windy. The baskets are finished and I'm somewhat happy. Some of them didn't turn out as good as the last time, but that's okay. So we're gonna start to basket these Vandas. I'm just gonna remove the dead flower here. And first thing that I would like to do is remove this basket because I found in some of my Vandas that I got that they can start to produce cakeys here, which can't really get out. So to remove the basket, absolutely the sharpest pair of scissors that you can get, and just go very, very slowly. I did manage not to mess up the roots when I did this last time, but you know, there's just like not one correct way. It's kind of like you gotta get in there and hope for the best. And cut in small pieces, and eventually, you know, you will get the thing out. They've been soaking for over an hour. Soaking will help us put the plant into these baskets because we need the roots to be as flexible as possible. These are not even that challenging when it comes to roots. This particular batch of Vandas, previous ones were more challenging. Now, having said that, I fully expect to mess something up here because that's sort of what always happens. I say this is not going to be hard and it ends up being a mess. And if you can't remove a part of the basket, that's fine. Just, you know, I leave them on. Usually this bit around the hanger I leave on. So let's just go to the other side. Some people say that these plants can die when you take off the basket, but I really have not found any of my Vandas dying. They're all still alive, and I remove the basket. I don't really find that to be true. Don't know where that myth comes from, because once again, I just make sure not to damage the roots. Not that anyone else cares. The way that they pack these, the roots are always absolutely smushed. But here, it came right off. So, no root loss here. It's all good. I did leave just a tiny bit of the basket. I don't see any cakeys, and I don't see any roots that I necessarily need to cut off. So let's just put her in this basket. I already put these, I'm gonna use these to wire the plant. And it's much easier when you put them before you put the plant in, which only occurred to me now. So we start with the roots to one side, and we spiral the plant in by slowly pushing her down, spiraling and trying to pack in all the roots to the best of our ability. And you know, they do keep them in those small vases. Shush. And they do sell these in those small vases too. So if they can shove them in a vase, I can certainly shove them in this, which is much bigger. And then I do leave the hanger. I don't think I should. I think at one point we're gonna take these hangers off. I kind of leave it in thinking it kind of helps support the plant a bit. So that's our Vanda. I can't remember, something about plum. I want to say, it's not ancient plum, but it feels like it should be that. So, basketed, secure. We can kind of put her upside down. She's secure. Now that you should, we have two more. This one doesn't have a tremendous amount of roots, and these thin ones are goners, but once again, I am going to leave them. And you can see how some of the roots can split the leaves. You can see a giant hole here, and that's also like something that makes these leaves fall off. And then I start to freak out. You can see, because now we're outside, these roots dry out really fast. So I do need to work a little bit faster. It doesn't help that this is one of those Vandas that has thicker roots. Now there's a plane flying above. Just always something when I want to record a YouTube video. I essentially look that there are not too many roots above this line because I only soak up until 3/4 of the basket. So I do try to get the majority of the root system down. Yeah, one day we will just have to remove the ugly hangers. And let's quickly do the last one. The last one, these are so dry. They dry out so fast. It's simply that these roots need such high humidity. The wind is blowing and they're just drying out at the speed of light. Really, no root loss has happened. So let's just get her quickly in here. She's dry. These roots are dry. This is not gonna go well. Yeah. These roots are really dry. I think, even though they look okay, the way that I feel these roots, the roots in the past that I got these Vandas with, and I think this is, okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of a story time here about Vandas that no one really cares about, but I'm still gonna share it. What happened is Ansu, the Vanda nursery, right, in Europe, all of the cut Vandas in Europe sort of come from Ansu. They had an issue with their greenhouses and all the Vandas burned. We're talking, I don't know, thousands of plants probably. And I think these are recent import because they don't come with the typical Ansu label. They come with a different label, which is really strange because this is such a big nursery and very recognizable name. They just wouldn't not put their name on these, right? So I think why these are slightly different, slightly maybe worse quality, because this is not really, all the ones before have been much better quality and they have been more adjusted to Europe. They had thicker roots, which my friend tells me means they grew in lower humidity. So I think these are perhaps maybe recent imports from Thailand. This is very off-center, but what are you gonna do? And I think she might be right about these being a fresh import. But I feel the way, like when I touch the roots, they're quite dry. And even my other Vandas that I have, the roots are not so dry. Even when I don't water them for a week, they don't have this feel that essentially they dried off and died off, right? But that's okay. Vandas are capable of great recovery, and all of the ones that I have started to grow new roots. One was left almost with no roots, and she started to grow new ones. So hopefully the same will happen with these. See, this one is off-center, but that's how she fit in. I tied the flower spike multiple times, so we kind of got her straightish. Okay. I'm actually going to soak them once again and make the hangers most likely tomorrow because I have some other work for today. Okay, we have a quick unboxing here. I ordered an orchid. There is an orchid here that I got for my birthday. It's a red one. It's a Philodendron orchid called Red Miley. I believe this is by Mimesis, but I'm not quite sure, which is like a European orchid manufacturer / distributor. And I don't know if this one is fragrant. I don't think so, but I really wanted a red one, like a red orchid. And this isn't fully red. It's not quite what I want, but I saw it and I was like, I kind of want it. And it wasn't very expensive. So I will just unbox this orchid. It arrived a couple of hours ago. I don't really like to order orchids from these people who resell plants, but there's no other choice really. These types of orchids don't really arrive to flower stores locally. And I actually could order this myself from the flower market, but I had to order 12, which would have cost me like 100 something euros, and I would have to resell 11 of them, which is a big risk, and I don't want to do it. So I'm glad I could get this one. I was actually looking at this exact one on the flower market, and I was thinking about doing exactly that, ordering 12 and then seeing if anyone wants to buy 11 off of me, you know, one by one. But that would take forever, and I don't know where I would keep them. The reason why I don't like this is because oftentimes these orchids will arrive with damaged flowers as they handle them. I also cannot select exact plant that I want. So if there is something wrong with it, rotten roots, terminal spike, I can't really do anything about it. I can complain, but these people who flip the plants don't really take to complaints really well. Oftentimes, the way that they pack is just not up to my standards. because they sell so many of these, they just kind of, they put them in the box. It's like probably secure packing, but I can already see some of the potting mix falling out. But I hope there are some buds that so we can see the flower. So it's packed like this, and oh, that, oh, I actually love it. You can kind of see it. Oh my God. It's actually much larger than I expected. But yeah, they didn't do really much with the packing. She just shoved them. It's fine. It's fine. We'll see how it is when I open it. This is probably gonna go on my wall to just bring in more colorfulness, even though it's pretty colorful. I just hope there's no terminal spikes. No terminal spikes, one damaged leaf. It's authentic orchid collection. I don't think this is mimesis. Some flowers are falling. Oh, this... This flower spike, one of the flower spikes is broken. Like, this is completely broken. See? Completely broken. This is what happens. It's fine, whatever, there are two more. But it's just like, you know, can you pack a little bit gentler, please, people? It's fine. I'm not upset. I expected this. Petals everywhere, of course. The color is beautiful. The orchid seems healthy, but yeah, that flower spike is gone. And it had a lot of flowers on it too. See? Completely broken. No, it's not fragrant. Oh, that's just sad. But we get three branches. Okay, we have three more branches which are not broken. Some of the flowers are damaged, which is to be expected. Because there's so many flowers, it's not gonna be even noticeable if I remove them, but I don't think I will. I really am sad because this is the one that looks to be the best spike of them all. It's fine. We're not gonna be upset. And of course, you know, if I were selecting, in ideal situation, if you can select orchid that's not so full in bloom, that you have more buds than open flowers, that would be ideal, but we are kind of at a point where we can't complain. Of course, it's a little bit wet. There's a rotten root here. The leaves seem good. No terminal spike. This is a damaged leaf. This is a damaged leaf, but again, probably arrived like that. But the color is pretty. So this one is damaged. So this is red Miley. It's a pretty good red color. I like it. It's unique enough. I really like Philodendron types that are kind of like this, unique enough. Unfortunately, you know, I can't really, you see some pieces are missing from the petals. I'm probably not gonna complain. I might let her know, because she definitely broke this while she was packing. Like, this was damaged while it was packing. It's like half of them are damaged and the branch is broken. And on the broken branch we have 1, 2, 5, 6 good ones, 1 damaged. I'm happy-ish. I always tell myself you will not order from these people again, and I will. But let's see how this will look on the wall. Can the flower spikes stand by their own, on their own? So I would say this is a, oh, see? Okay, not so stable. So let's just return a single spike, a single stake. But I love the flower. I think it's very pretty. It's gonna look great on my wall. What would you do? I'm interested to find out. I don't like to complain, but I think it's justified to tell people, like, actually more than that is damaged. Now I see that a lot of them are actually missing the lower part of the lip, like this one is missing the lip. So I counted him as good, but it's missing the lip. This is the category of more expensive Philodendrons that you can see on the flower market. Not the most premium, but definitely a little bit more premium. So that's why it costs more. It was about 19 euros for this. The cheap ones often are rotted or just like a very, very plain, though you can find sometimes good looking orchids there too. So this is from the more premium sellers. Am I blurry? Okay, I think my vision is actually blurry, not... Is my camera out of focus or is it just my age? I think my age. So we are here today in front of my cabinet. We're gonna try to finish as much as we can with the rotsta in the back. I have Hoyas from Sweden here, which you have seen in my Swedish haul, and I got some bad news. One of the most expensive cuttings croaked. Hoya Maingai, mine gone. She's gone. She's gone. She did root, but unfortunately, these cuttings have been in the propbox far too long and they can rot too. Sometimes this happens. I've experienced it more than once. Hoyas can rot in propbox. It's completely melted. It's completely gone. Nothing is left. Unfortunately, it was just way too moist for her in the propbox. She even started to grow a bit, but as we can see, she's a goner. She's a goner. She rotted. There were 2 leaves and they're completely gone. So that is really unfortunate. It was very pretty once, but it no longer is. So the thing is, I should have done this much sooner, but I didn't have the time. So I'm gonna try to acquire this one again. On the bright side, we have a pot. So the rest of them seem fine. I will go through them now. I think maybe one more didn't root, which is, oh, yeah. The top of that one also rotted. My outer variegated Bella, the top seems rotted as well. So it's just too much moisture. They were in here for too long and the bottom didn't even root. So we're gonna try to save her. Carolina thought this one was gonna be more challenging because of just very high variegation, but you know, you can't cry over these things, you really can't. What was not doing well from day one is the micro dwarf. We'll see if some of it is salvageable, we'll see. The bottom started to drop the leaves. So I'm gonna go through these and we're gonna put them in the back. I wanted to get all green pots as I did here, which I think looks great, but unfortunately they did not have green. They had pink and whatever this color is, terracotta and lilac, so I'm gonna use those. It's not gonna be the best. I will attempt to get all green at one point. They might make an order, or I might order them online because they do know where to get them, but for now I'm just gonna do this because these really need to get out of the prop box. But the rest of the Hoya do look good. They do look rooted, so I'm just going to start putting them in the cabinet. We're going to attach them on the grid that you see that we did in the previous videos with these IKEA clips, which I actually don't even know if I have enough of them. It's a lot of unknowns in this part of the video, but yeah, let's go through these. I'm really sad about those 2. I'm really sad. Didn't I just say you can't be sad about these things? Liar. I'm gonna start putting these plants. The general idea is towards the top, we're gonna put higher light Hoyas. Judging on this cabinet, this is approximately the max level. There's only 1 light here, and I'm gonna probably for now maintain that 1 light because these have not been in high light, and we wanna slowly introduce the higher light. So Acanthostemas are gonna be in the upper level because Acanthostemas love light, they love warmth, and they can be dried out. And of course, everything that's closer to the light is gonna dry out much faster. So there is some strategy to this madness. And then as we go lower, we're gonna have plants that like cooler temps, lower light, and more water because they're gonna dry out slower and obviously they're gonna get less light and they're not gonna get that much less warmth. It's gonna be pretty hot in here, so that concerns me for some of the Hoyas like this Litophytica, but you live and you learn. You live and you kill Hoyas. I'm sure they're not finding that funny, but you know, when you have an owner with a deranged sense of humor, what else can you do? Let's start with small leaved Hoyas on the top. You will also eventually get update on the cuttings, but not just now. We will wait for them to grow a bit. This is probably not going to look very aesthetically pleasing because of the, first of all, the plants are smaller and there are more colors of the pots. So it's going to look the way it's going to look. There's nothing to be done about that. I'm just not going to think way too much about the placement here. We all know there's going to be 50,000 of iterations of this cabinet, so I'm just not going to worry too much initially about where I put them, except for the light requirement. I don't want to hear how it doesn't look good. It's all gonna be looking better in a moment. And we are joining these. I'm out of pots. Am I really out of pots? Yes, I'm out of pots. I'm actually hating the way that this is turning out. But okay. Sometimes it just has to look ugly in the beginning so it can look pretty in the end. That's what my mom said when I was born. I'm joking, she did not. And the good thing is, like, this is probably the maximum amount of Hoyas that we can put in here. Now it doesn't look overcrowded, but as soon as they start to grow, it will be very overcrowded because a lot of these are not even that small. I will not water them now, but I think in a couple of days they will be needing water. Sulawesiana. Let's see. We have this Clemenciorum from Camilla, and I see some new roots. I rooted this without a propbox, so that's interesting that it rooted. It could have stronger roots by now, but I'm just gonna put it down here. It's obviously not gonna stay long in here. And then this Tengchungensis from Julie that I got through Farah. It's a little bit dry, needs to be watered. Just gonna put it down here. Yeah, this is not looking the best. I don't like it. I think it would look much nicer if pots were a different color, but on the bright side, plants are in their place. So 7 out of 10 for this setup, because this is 10 out of 10 for me. It's 10 out of 10. We should not compare these. Though I do have some other colored pots, but not too many. It's predominantly green, and I think it's because these plants are larger. So I think that's why, because that looks fire. I love that. It just looks like it's a sibling that you shouldn't compare siblings. I'm not gonna be a bad mother. All right, so the time has come for me to end this video. It's getting very hot. I need to open the windows. The traffic has been loud, so I had to close them, but I'm gonna suffocate now. I did not achieve everything that I wanted to do. I wanted to tackle the terrariums on the big shelf, but we're just gonna have to do that in a different video. Not everything can be done in a lot of days, honestly. It's been like 4 or 5 days. We got some big things done. We did not get all of the things. I still have 4 pro boxes to get through of my Hoya, but luckily there haven't been many mealybugs in those, so that's a positive thing. It's still a lot of stuff that we need to finish, but I feel better. At the same time, I'm also realizing there's so much more that needs to be done. We're going to do definitely unhaul. It's coming in June. It has to come. We gotta reduce minimum 30 plants. Most likely all 30 Hoya, but we'll see. But it's definitely coming because this is just not okay. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope it was good for you. Was it good for you? Was it? We are entering June, which is going to be even more intense because we are about 40 days away from this room being painted, which means I have to take all the plants out. I don't know where. I will run away. No one's gonna find me. I'm just gonna leave everything here. That's gonna be stressful, but hey, I'm gonna make a video. That's gonna be a fun video, but I actually will be so happy. And what I'm looking to do in June, my goals for June, let's do some goal setting. My goals for June are to get crap in order in all of the cabinets, in all of the tents. We don't have to repot everything, but let's make sure things are watered, treated, slightly hydrated, you know? So after the painting, The only thing that is left is, cleaning a little bit, watering a little bit, not fighting mealybugs, and just get back into some other type of content. Maybe we can eventually one day get back into the geeky stuff, but not yet, because we're simply not done with the actual part of plant life, which is all of this. It's all of this. You can also let me know down below what your goals are for June. Let's plan them out, babes. Let's plan them out. Let's get things in order here. Yeah, I need to shut up. I need to shut up and start editing this video. Okay, bye. Bye. Goodbye. Is that a mealybug? Okay, it's not. It's not. Crisis averted. I would like to take some time to thank all my patrons for their incredible support. A massive shout out to my $5 patrons, my 2 anonymous patrons, Adriana, Anna Malia, Alex von Siebenhal, Anne Margaret Munn, Angela Bernard, Anna P. Aspen Drake, Betsy, Brett Noble, Catherine Molina, Cheyenne O'Hear, Connie Pagano, Daniela Danube Daniels, Diane Sikorsky, Dipanjali Rao, Ether W, Elena Saxon, Ellen, Farah, Ferdis Verdons, Francis Wilkins, Gathering Moss, Gina Geisig, Grositz, Kyle, Growing Nerd, Hannah Matlin, Hoji Scott, Yana Griffin, Jessica Chio, Jody T. Gomez, Jonas Barr, Hjorth Larson, Kara, Catherine P., Casey Gross, Kelso, Kimberly Polka, Kiwi Mochi, Christy Ehrlich, Ella Lindberg, Lee Mooney, Luka Zerchevsky, Mandy Milliken, Marcella Har, Marina Yarmolich, Marty Miller, Marie Zakova, Melissa Walker, Michelle Herod, Mirko Grun Roos, MJW, Moa Edmund, Miss Seidenhar, Nelly Yang, Niha, Nicole Moreau, Nina Nguyen, Nita Macy, Odette, PJ Plan Drit, Zara, Rachel Peterson, Rebecca, Renee Church, Sharon Bones, Starla Van Lith, Subi Cortecangas, Tessa Martins, Thomas Marsden, Tia B, Trista Bailey, Tristan Thomas, Van Eilian, Xenia Green, Youth of the Walmut, Zaira Rivera, Zordorama, Zlokub Niponi, and a flower. A big thank you to my $3 patrons: Karen Cologne Constance, Daryl Del Rosario, Eden Corlett, Holly Borner, Joanna, KPZ, Lindsay Ann, Maria Isabel, Monica Wykers, Ringlov, Tang Watanas Riakul, VH, www.myhoya.shop. And a thank you to my $1 patrons: Alice Borlin, Andrew G. and C., Brandon Pacheco, Catherine Molina, Couture Helvetica, Emilia Bronson, Jolie Sullivan, Julie Lafford, Kayla Vavra, Kelly Ash, Kelly Gallagher, Chris Perez, Laura E. Jackson, Laura in the Tugboat Plants, Lori Ann Subramaniam, Luzmin Fernandez, Marga F.V., Marie Diamond, Mary Rose, Neely Spicer, Nerdy Kathy, Olivia Chin Muller, Pacific NW Plant Lady, and Steph Fox.